Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Welcome back to video number 2 of Christmas 2025. At least I think it's video number 2. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. Today what I'm going to be showing is foiling using Deco foil or toner foil. The laminator that I have is the fuse foiling system. This is by Gina K Designs. And it's basically it's very similar to the old Make machine. You plug it in, turn it on at the back, and then you hit this center dial, and it will do differing levels of heat and pressure, which is handy. So I'm going to put it on number 3, which is kind of the standard of what you want to use. And I'm just going to move this now out of frame here just a little bit to the side. No, actually, I'll keep it in frame until I run through the first one. Um, you can kind of hear it humming along because it's heated up. So you can see here, it starts out blinking in red, but I've been heating it up because you have to have it green and ready to go. So I started heating it up. And I want to show you some of the products that are available to use that you're going to need to, if you're going to use this kind of foiling system. Okay. I still have my Go Press and Foil. I love it, but it's a different, not but, and it's a different type of system. I believe I've showed you using just a regular toner and regular laminator. You can use that. You don't get great results though. It's kind of hit and miss. I've also showed you using a duo gel. So it's Deco Foil Duo Gel, which you can do hot or cold. Foiling, but it's like a gel. So you put it through a stencil or whatever you put it on and it dries, and then you can run it through a laminator, or you can just use uh, uh, mm, a die cutting machine and run it through. And you can use regular glimmer type foil or the other kind of foil, which I will show you here in a bit. But what you're going to want to use, so if you have I believe it's a laser printer, prints with toner. So you get that black toner kind of thing. You can use that then. So if you're just printing on you print some black and white sentiments or something like that, and you print it on white cardstock, which is essentially what these are. These are from Simon Says Stamp, and they're packages of sentiments that you can get, and they're essentially just white cardstock with black toner ink printed on them. So these will run through and foil beautifully. Um, this is essentially the same except for reverse. So all of this black area is toner, and then you get the white. So what it ends up looking like when you foil it is this. So then you can cut these into sentiment strips, etc. So you get that beautiful all over foiling. So you get the foil with the white look, or you can just have the black with the white lettering instead of having to do stamping. So and they come in a variety of sentiments. I have Mother's Day ones. I have what else do I have? I have a bunch of them. Valentine's Day, but I'm going to be showing you how to do this. We're going to do some sentiments. So I'm going to put these sentiments to the side here. Here are all of the other ones that I have foiled, and then I just keep them in a baggie to keep handy so that I don't lose them. And because I've already foiled the whole thing on those, right? So I'm gonna move these to the side here. And I had some, I was gonna say so I didn't lose them, but I did have more Merry Christmas ones. I've either used them or they have disappeared in the miasma of what is here. Okay. And then for this, there is 2 different kinds of products. So this is Deco foil, and you can see here where it says toner card fronts. And what it does is essentially every place where there is black, that is where your toner, or sorry, your foil is going to stick to when you run it through. It's going to heat up and it's going to stick to the foil will then stick to these areas. So you can get a bunch of different kinds of card foils. This one's a striped one. The other kind that exists, and these I haven't seen them by somebody else, but Gina K carries these ones. And there are other people who carry like other crafting companies that do toner card fronts. Just these are the ones that are kind of the easiest to get in Canada right now. Even Gina K, she's difficult to get here because she's based in the States, right? And so now with tariffs, et cetera, difficult to get. But if you're in the States or in other areas, by all means, great product, great product. And this is called Polyglaze. And so I'm going to do both. I'll show you what this looks like, but this is almost like a, uh, y- y- um, almost looks like a somebody heat embossed because it's really clear. So you don't actually see this pattern until you foil it. So I'll show you what those look like. So you can see here all sorts of different patterns, stars and blocks and chunkies. And so here's another one that's a different company. So this is ThermaWeb, carries um, toner foiling sheets. This one is actually toner foil on acetate, and it's a full 8.5 by 11 size. So you could cut and get 4 card fronts out of this, or you could do this whole thing if you were making like a scrapbook or something, could do the whole thing. So these are the ones that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do that one. And I am going to do, I'm going to do those ones. So I'll show you what the polyglaze looks like, and I'll also show you what the toner foil looks like, or toner cardstock looks like. So when you are using, oh, sorry, the other thing that is available that you can get, and this helps you utilize your excess foil. This is a full sheet, okay, 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 11 package of full tonered card front, like cardstock, whatever you want to call it. And this, you could do one ginormous piece of foil, but you would still see the lines where it joins and stuff like that. But I cut this up and I'll show you what I'm going to do with my scrap foil. So you don't end up having scrap foil. Okay. So I'm going to put that to the side. Okay. And this, okay. So when you're using the Gina K, or your Mink machine, there are certain what's this is called, like a fuse carrier sheet. So this is actually, I have a shim in here, but this is actually just like a piece of acetate that folds up, and you basically run it through just like a laminator. Okay. So it comes with two, or it did come with two. I think it came with two. I didn't come with one. Nope, must have just come with one. And I just keep reusing and reusing. So this is an extra one that I got in case I lose them because they are clear, which is why it's also nice to have a piece of cardstock in it because yeah, that's hard to find. Now, the difference on the foils, this is the challenge, and this is also why I don't use it a ton because I find that this particular foil is expensive. So if you're doing toner foil, you have to use a toner transfer sheet or craft foil. So it specifically has to be a toner foil. It can't be just an activated foil. This is the one that you can use with your Go Press and or sorry, your Go Press and Foil machine, or the Glimmer machine from Spellbinders. There's a couple of different ones out that you can use this for now. But this particular one is Go Press and Foil. But you can see, so there's 5 meters on here for now. This was probably 5, 6 years ago, so it's a little expensive now, but still, I think they're only like $5, $5 or $6. But this one at the time was like under $3 when I ordered this. So for this huge long amount. Now in here, you get 5 sheets, 5 transfer sheets, and I'll show you the size of them. This one was $7.49, but the last ones that I think that I bought were they were like $12 or $14. So it's really expensive. Well, beautiful. And I find it's a little more pricey compared to this. So yeah, so that's my only qualm about this particular thing. But it does give you, I can't complain, the results that you get are amazing. Okay, so I am going to start. So because I am doing snowflakes, I'm mostly going to stick with a silver and a blue. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. And so I'm going to pull out a silver sheet. So basically, they come in a little tube like this, and you can pull out. So you can see here, here's the sheet. That's one. Make sure I only got one. And I always keep the scraps because you just never know. In fact, I might keep that out so that I can use that for the sentiments. And then I'm going to roll this up. And I'm going to stick that back in the tube because essentially you want to keep them not exposed to too much dust. So this is much easier when you do that with one hand there. So you don't want to get it too dusty. I'm not super I don't tend to get too particular on what my results are. I don't expect them to be perfect, but if you do, you want to make sure that you are keeping them quite clear from spaces. There are people who will use, let me do the toner foil one first, I think. So put that down. Let's grab a sheet. There are people who will use, what's the word that I'm looking for? Um, I totally just blanked on what I was saying. I guess it wasn't important. Okay, so I'm gonna take my piece here and I'm gonna measure it ish, kind of hold my foil up to it, and then I'm gonna trim it to pretty close to the size of my card front here. Oh, I know what I was going to say. There are people who will take these out of the sleeve and they'll put them almost in like page protectors into a binder so that they can see them and have a little bit of easier access to them. I don't have a ton of them, so I don't feel like I need to do that. I just keep them in this and then in the box for my where my fuse where this gets stored, because this just stays in the box and then it's easy to travel with and whatever. So I'm just going to put the lid back on. I'm going to put that to the side. And so I believe, if I recall this correctly, what you're going to do is you're going to put this, here's my card front, okay? And I am going to take a little bit of a brush. So I just have a makeup brush here and I'm going to give it a wipe just to make sure that there isn't any dust on there. And then I'm going to take my foil. Again, I'm going to give that a bit of a wipe with just a little makeup brush that doesn't have anything on it, clean makeup brush. And I'm going to lay this dull side down or shiny side up, whichever way you want to think about it. It's the same thing, right? And then I'm going to put this into my carrier sheet right up against the edge. It doesn't have to be right up against the edge. I just like it to be in there, but I want to make sure that I'm looking at this and I can tell that my entire card front is covered by the foil. Now, I'll move this into frame here so you guys can kind of watch this go through. And now all I'm going to do is I'm taking the sealed edge of my carrier sheet and I'm going to move that through like that. And waiting for that. I'm going to take this extra silver piece and see how big. So if I chop this off at just above the happy holidays. Get two different colors for this. Okay, and then it just goes through and it releases on its own. So I'm not, all I'm going to do is I'm going to open this and I'm going to let this come out, but I'm going to let this sit on my, I want the foil to stay on there for a minute or two, just to continue to adhere while it's still warm. So I'm going to brush that off. I'm going to brush off my foil. Right. That through. And actually, because there's still enough here, this could actually be almost a sentiment all on itself here. Cut that little bit off and run this through. So, and what did I do with my silver? So that this doesn't get too dusty, I'm going to roll this up and I'm just going to put it back in the tube. Like that. So, because each of those scraps, you never know when you're going to need just a little bit, right? And this stuff, again, as I've said, this is pretty expensive. Well, it's not pretty expensive. I mean, really, card making is an expensive hobby. So, what are you going to do with that? Okay. I'm just going to wait for this to finish here. All right. And let that set for a second. Now, let's see here. Did I do this the right way? I sort of did, but it didn't stick down. So let's try that again. Let's go bump it up one. Let's see. It wasn't ready. Just love it when I'm doing a video and it doesn't quite go right. Always nice to do that. Now, what you can see here is you can see, look at how well that has stuck down. There's a couple of places here where it hasn't. So I might run that through again just to get it to stick down there. But you can see how flat. And if I do this, yeah, good. So I'm going to run this back through um, just to get those other edges that did not stick down. And I have found that a few times this sometimes is a problem with toner. Um, I tend to get a more complete, but there are sometimes like, these are a little old. They're a couple of years old. Maybe my foil is old. Who knows? There are lots of different reasons it could be acting up that way. And that looks like it's a somewhat better grip on there. Well, still lifting in a few places, but I can see the snowflakes. Okay, I'm gonna pop that out. Ooh, she doty. Mm. So I'm gonna put this in. I'm actually gonna run it through upside down this time and see how that goes. Mm. Okay, so I'm not sure how much you guys are going to be able to see, but on this end here, you can see where the snowflakes have almost popped through on, so you can see that that is where it has actually adhered to the card. So you can start to see the bit of the pattern. Hmm. Oh yeah, much better. Good. Okay. Good, 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 good. Toasty, toasty, toasty. Mm. Yeah, and that's a much better. I don't know if you guys can see that here. Because in the last one, you could see where it was raised kind of in the centers here. It's not anymore. So that's what I'm looking for on that. That means I've gotten a pretty good coverage. So that's good. Okay. So now I'm going to do the reveal because this is the best part about foil is revealing. Again, so that was black. Look at how shiny that is now. Look at that. Gorgeous. Yeah, and it didn't miss any of the foiling. And then you get this piece. Don't throw this away. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the polyglaze one, and then we'll run these through. Okay. Polyglaze. Yeah, that's the word for it. Okay. And let's do the reveal on this. So, and you can see it has taken almost the entirety of that off. Now, if I wanted to do black with silver letters, I could. You can see here where I can run that through. Yeah, maybe we'll give that a go. So we'll put that to the side here, but look at how well that covered. I'm very happy with that. Okay, so those I'm going to put to the side here, and I'm going to pull out the polyglaze sheet and show you how this foils. What this looks like because this one is a little bit different. So it looks like this on the front, but when you pull it out, you can just kind of see it's like a almost like a shiny, it's almost like somebody did sticky embossing powder on there or something. Doesn't feel that way, but I don't want to stick my fingers on it because that's not great. Okay. So what I want to do on this one, I'm going to move this to the side here. And this one I'm going to do in this really pretty kind of turquoisey blue. What have we got in here? This is one of my favorites because as you can see, I have one sheet left of this because I love it. It's this is one of my favorite colors. I like I have this really pretty kind of leafy green as well. That's really lovely. And so I'm just kind of fitting my card front to this. I don't want to have too much overlay. Let me do that. It's one. And then I'm also going to foil these sentiments as well so that it will match the card. So I'm going to cut this. Same as the last time. I am going to trim this down a bit because this could be another sentiment if I want. Because out of the straight black toner, I can die cut it and just have like just the sentiment go through. Die cuts very, very nicely. Okay, so I've added all of my scraps back into my little tube here. And what I am going to do first is I'm going to do the snowflake piece first. So first step is I'm going to take my little makeup brush and kind of just give it a bit of a brush, which is good because it turns out there was it should be your hair or something on there. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to give a bit of a wipe, give a bit of a brush off to my foil here. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in my barrier sheet. And to be straight-ish on there. Okay. Now there is area around it where I can trim it if I need to. So I'm going to put this through, move this over again, move it so you can too much. And I'm waiting for that. I will prep these guys, I guess. Stay. Much better on that one. So that's good. Okay. Toasty, 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 toasty. Okay. Tip that out and let that cool down before I go and peel it. And I'm going to put my sentiment part front here. Sentiments in. Through. Okay. This is cooled now. So the fun reveal, look at how, so you can see how well that has stuck down. And I can just see here, I don't know if it's going to show on camera. No, it's not, but I can see here, there's a bit of an impression in the foil where the snowflakes, let's see if I can catch that light. No, it's not going to show. But where the snowflakes have popped through. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so pretty. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's pull this out now. Okay, so I'm going to put that off to the side here for just a moment for it to cool off. Now what I want to do though is before I turn off and move I'll let this cool down and stuff, I'll move it out of frame so we can finish the cards. I want to start doing the black deco foil. So utilizing these scraps, right? So this was the blue that we sent through. So there's no point in wasting that. We can keep that. So what we're going to do is, so I took those black sheets that were the 8.5 by 11 and I cut them down to a 4.25 by 5.5 inch side. So basically I cut it into 4. And just off camera here, I just wiped this. And theoretically, this should still be pretty clean here, this guy here. All right, now what I want to do is I want to try and get as close to as possible. I want to fit this on because I can trim it too if I need to, but I'm going to get all of that color is now going to transfer onto my black cardstock at the back here. Okay, let's do that. And while I'm waiting for that to roll through, look at how nice and smooth this came out. It's really good foiling on that. And I'm going to pull that. Gorgeous. Okay. And we've got sentiments right here. So let's pull a piece cardstock for that. Let's see. So I can trim down. Just going to trim off this extra bit of foil that's at the bottom here, because then I can lay the silver one on here as well. Should be enough to catch both. And that one, let's take that out. And God here. Christmas Day. I want to make sure that all of my sentiment is covered onto the black Pull this out. It is, I dumped it. Dumped it. Okay, let's get that back on there. So in this way, you could theoretically just keep foiling and foiling and foiling and foiling. That gets to be a bit much for me, but it's not what I wanted to do. At some point, you just gotta, well, I mean, you don't have to, but at some point, I just end up calling it a day and say, okay, I've gotten enough out of that. I'm good. Let's just move on. Okay, so I'm going to run this through. And then while I'm waiting for that, I am also going to prep our last piece here, okay, which was the silver. And I'm just going to give this one a bit of a wipe off camera here. And in. This will be ready to go once this carrier is finished. And in the meantime, we can peel this. Oh, see, I didn't wipe that. There's that smudgy of whatever that was that stuck there. But look at that. How cool is that? I love that. So cool. So cool. So cool. All right. Hot. So pull these two out. Let them sit for a second to the side here. Fit this back on. Get this. Okay, so this should go well. And so we're going to do the reveal here so you guys can see. All right, you can see how well that boiled down. It's looking pretty good. There we go. And I've got the black and the silver. So that's going to look really cool. All right. So I've got the black. I'll show you the differences once I've finished it here, once this guy is completed. Okay, and then let's come out and we'll turn this off. Let it start cooling down because I'm done basically all of my foiling for this. I'm going to move that to the side there. And move away off to the side there. All right. Now, see, I can pull this out more. So you can see here, this is where my carrier sheet pulled up a little bit of the foil that was behind picked up the toner because there wasn't anything that was covering it. So my carrier sheet picked that up, but it did drop a little bit on my silver card front here, but that's okay because I can just put a sentiment right there, or I can just do this up and down and do a sentiment right there. So that'll work. So I'm done with my carrier sheet as well. So I'm going to put that to the side here, and I'm going to peel this piece of silver. Okay. And you can see, look at how well that foiled. There's like no left over here at all. Okay. That is most excellent. So in terms of, so our solid, so I'll do the blues so that you can see the difference, the blues and then the silvers. All right. So we have, this was the original poly glaze. Okay. So kind of like the sticky embossing powder with the blue. Okay. And this was the original toner. So it was black with white lettering. Now it's kind of the shiny blue with the white lettering. And then this was the black toner page now with the blue, with the shiny blue, right? So it's just going to have the black. So we're going to do black snowflakes. Now, if I wanted to, what I could do is go over this again with another piece of silver. Well, maybe we'll try that actually. This hasn't cooled down enough. So let's see. Okay, so you can see here, I just turned it back on. Okay, but there's no lights on it because I have to hit this. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to move it all the way over. It's going to blink. We're going to do that. So because I do have enough silver left, I'm going to cut another piece and I'm going to do silver snowflakes over top of this. I did have more silver. So just to show you what the possibilities are and why I was saying that this could feel like it could go on and on and on and on. It's that song. This is the song that never ends. Whatever. Okay, so here's my little scrap. Yeah. And because it was already heated up, I don't know if you heard the beep, but it has now gone green. So it will be ready soon as I'm done gathering my stuff here. So again, I'm going to pull out my foil and I'm going to hold up my card front, and I'm going to trim that down to size because I don't need it to be bigger than what it is, right? Don't want any extra overfoiling, etc., etc. And then I'm going to roll this up. I'm going to put it back in the tube. Keep it nice and dust free as much as possible. Okay. So, yeah. So we've got this, and I'm gonna dust off my foil for anything that it may have picked up between the tube and here. And also, I've been playing around with this a bit, so I'm just gonna give this a bit of a dust as well. And I'm gonna put the shiny side up on this. And we're gonna run this through. Run it through from the other side because I don't want that show up on my nice, so you can see that black mark there. This is why you sometimes have to get extra carrier sheets, is because some of the foil or some of the toner or something will lift, and you want to make sure that that's not going to cover onto your next piece. Okay, so you can see here I've covered my entire card piece that's under there, and I'm going to run this through now. And maybe I will do this. Oh, no, that won't have ink on it, so I'm not going to do that. Oh, yep, good. I can see, I'm watching it as it's coming out the back end here, and I can see some of the snowflakes showing through on the silver. So that means then that where the black toner snowflakes were, well, maybe that'll show better through the carrier sheet. Yeah, right there in this area, you can see where the snowflakes are showing through. So that means then that the black toner that was behind the blue foil has now caught onto the silver. Okay. So I'll give that a. And we're going to peel. Yeah. Oh, so you can see here, look at this is the leftover. So it's gone through very well. And so the black, the silver, so the insides of my snowflakes are now silver instead of black. It's a dark silver, but it is still silver. Okay. Now, because I have this one sheet and I don't want to have to come back and do this again, I do have an extra piece of deco foil ready to go. So we will just run this through. So, and this is what I mean again and again and again. Every time you foil through, you can use the scraps, right? Everything you don't turf it, you don't throw it away. You just keep it and use it for the next one and move it through and use it for the next one. Oh, I missed that. Somehow I missed that. So I'm trying to make sure that my snowflakes, as you can see here, where it's the center of the panel fits like for an A2 size card, but I want to make sure that I am definitely getting that. Your sheet is fitting. All right, and this will be the last one that we will do because this will just be garbage for what's left, and I'll just turf that. But while I'm waiting, I'll pull over my paper trimmer. We're going to trim these down. We're going to trim some of them down, and we will move the fuse out of the way. So again, this is the same thing if you have a mink machine. Theoretically, if you can get a good enough laminator that has enough pressure, you can do the same thing with the deco foil, like the toner papers and the deco foil. Okay. Or a toner based foil, not a heat activated foil. It has to be a toner based foil. All right, so we're done with the carrier paper. We're done with the fuse. We'll move that out of the way. So I've just clipped it off at the back. Let it cool down because I don't want to put it back in the box and have everything be too heated. So here you can see, look at how mirror shiny that is. But you can see, again, I'm going to pull this back and you look at what's happening on my foil here. There's nothing left on my sheet for my foil. So that's great. And my snowflakes here are black stuff. Okay. So again, I could go over this and do blue snowflakes, or I could do red snowflakes, or whatever, and then just keep going with whatever's left, with whatever's left, with whatever's left. As long as you have enough of the toner paper, you can keep going pretty much indefinitely. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm going to trim these down because I'm going to use them for card fronts. Yeah. So, and I want them to have, so this one I might do a full card front size because you can see it goes right to the edges. Okay, so that was the Deco foil one. This is the polyglaze one, and you can see where it's got a border on it. So I'm going to trim that down because so this will end up being probably 4 inches by 5 1/4. This one should be, if I'm correct here, should be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Yeah, so that's good there. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down. I'm also going to trim my foil ones down, the fully foiled ones, because you can see. So this one goes edge to edge, which is really lovely. I think I do still want, because it's so dark, I do still want to have some paper showing. I do want to have a border. This one you can see again, because it came off of the polyglaze one, it's got an edge to it. So we're definitely going to trim these ones. Okay. Flip the trimmer. So let's go here and do go there. Well, that's actually going to be a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. Shorter than that. Okay, there's one card front. So I'm going to trim down. And how is everybody coming along with their Christmas cards? Hubby and I were today, we're just helping my folks put their Christmas lights back up. They had their, typically we don't take them down, but they had their roof done this year. So they had to get all pulled down, which is just a pain. And, neither one of us particularly like getting on ladders. But there you go. That's what we were doing. So we were helping out with that. We were over there yesterday washing windows. Holy man. No, but you guys, that's not a fun job. It's very hard. I didn't like it. But got it done, so that's good. And yeah, hopefully you guys, so hope that'll be good because I'll do and I do their decorating and stuff for Christmas too. And so I'll probably be doing that a couple of weeks. I'm not sure when this video will be going out, but yeah, be doing that and just kind of having that be nice. So it'll be a nice fresh start for that and getting that all ready. How about you guys? How soon do you guys decorate? I think in the last video, I think I was talking about how early I decorate. Because I do so much, I like to have it done and ready for December 1st, so I can start turning on my lights, etc. Make sure this is actually the right size. So 4 1/4. Okay. 5 1/2. Good. Okay. So yeah, I really like to do I like to have it done and ready to go for December 1st because I do so much. Well, I don't have to. I like to do. Well, do I like to do it? I don't know, but I do it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking my guillotine trimmer and I'm just trimming out the sentiments, trimming them into strips. Now you could do this just using like if you have a sentiment like a strip die, definitely could do this with that. Mhm. Either or, whichever is actually easiest for you. So typically when I'm doing this, I try to line up the next sentiment right kind of at the bottom of where my liner is here. So we'll go through and next one. And of course, as you get kind of closer to the edge, gets a little more complicated for your fingers, which is where it's nice to have the die cut. But I didn't pull that out, so I wasn't prepared for that. So here we go. I think I'm gonna do, yeah, we'll go right there. That, and then I'm gonna try and turn this around, see if I can get that. Ooh, the edge. Yes, I can. Good, good, good. There we go. All right, so it's gonna sit right on that lip. Push down, not to get my finger too close. There we go. Awesome. Right, get that one out, and then I'll just do a couple of the blue ones. Whoop, so that I've got them, and then I can trim off the like the white edge or whatever I need to do here. So yeah, this is kind of my straight edge here. So I want to get a nice straight edge there because of course I just cut this, so I don't not entirely certain how straight I cut it before I did the foiling. Okay, happy holidays. That's lovely. Going to the top of the season's greetings here, like that. So that was nice too. Um, well, anybody traveling for Christmas? Do you guys are you somebody who takes the time at the holiday season and you actually head out on a vacation? Um, my sister-in-law's family used to travel at Christmas. They'd go skiing or they'd go, basically out of town or whatever. And so they used to do that. Now that my family never really did that. I mean, we would travel to family, but we never really traveled like at Christmas. Christmas was at home and, with Santa and the big meal and the whatever. That's what it tended to be by and large. Um, so that was really interesting to talk to her about that and her experience of those things and what that was like to wake up Christmas morning in a different area or like at a space. I think they mostly did it as they got older, like once the her and her brothers were all in college, etc. Okay, have to poke this out here because I want to try and line it up again along this metallic bar that sits right here. Need my finger in there, not under the blade. Right there. There we go. Oh, oh, that was not straight, obviously. Okay, must have shifted it. Okay, let's do that. Nope, I'm gonna have to trim that with some scissors then. Okay, but I got it pretty darn close, so I'll be able to fiddle with that. Okay, so I'm gonna put those to the side. I'll throw out my trash here, and let's put together a couple of cards. So the first thing that I want to do is you can see how beautiful this is with the lovely, like just the silver and the white. It's quite stark, but could be really, really lovely. Now, what I could do is I can take this Merry Christmas and just put that right there, just kind of pop it up. Merry Christmas. And then this, like I could do this sub sentiment from my family to yours. That would be really nice. Nice, simple, easy card. I can also do in the blue on there, could do season's greetings. That would be really nice. Christmas hugs, you're on my heart and mind. So season's greetings, you're on my heart and mind. That's a nice thing. But what I like to do to change this up a little bit and shift that, oh, I'm going to need to do those ones as well, is we can also ink blend over this a little bit. So I am going to pull in, I'm going to pull in my Elements by Lavinia Stamps, and this is the Blue Lagoon color. So it's the lighter of the blues, or one of the lighter of the blues. I'm going to ink up a little bit, and I'm going to dab off into the lid. If you haven't seen why I dab off into the lid, check out some of my other videos, but it's easy enough then for me to, because I'll often use that as an ink palette. So I'm not wasting any ink onto my mat or onto my glass surface. I can always scrape up from in there. So I can tap off, I can utilize that, add a little bit of water, can add a little bit of water and I can watercolor from there so I can use the ink. Okay. So and I'm just going to start in the center and I'm going to, or sorry, on off of the edges. And you notice that I started the blending, started creating my circles. Fudge, man. All right, well, I'm going to have to change that out a little bit. I don't know. Yes. Apparently I managed to just get some ink on my fingers. I don't even know how I managed to do that. It must have been. Oh, yeah. So let's give my fingers a quick wipe because that's not good to keep carrying that around. Okay, quick wipe, and we're going to pull out our mono sand eraser. I'm going to see how much of this I can lift up because it's a very light coating, but I don't want to get too close to my foil because this will buff that foil right off, right? So welcome to Boo Boos 101. How can we fix it? Can we fix it? I don't know. That was a pretty harsh layering of color right there. Okay, so I'm softening this a bit. Let's see here. Okay, so you can still see here where there's a little bit where my finger touched down. So I'm just going to come in again and I'm going to very gently, just kind of going in circles. So this is basically, it's an eraser that actually has like a sand grit to it. Okay. So my original thought, my original plan was that I was going to leave the center white, but now thanks to putting my finger in it, literally, now I'm going to take the light blue all the way across. And I'll show you here so I'm gonna do this and I'm going to tap that off, starting off again off the center. And I'm just going to bring my color all the way across like this, moving that around. And you're going to be able to see actually there where I was trying to, so my sentiment is clearly going to have to go in this space here. But that's where I was roughing up the paper a bit. And think in order to not do that again, I'm going to get a piece of mint tape here and put my fingers on that. So I'm not transferring because the foil will be resisting the ink. So the ink is now sitting on top of that foil as well that I'm putting down. So I'm going to put my sticky side down so that I can just hold on to my paper here, my card front. That and inside here again, being just a skosh of white, but nice. And height. Okay. So I had intended for this to just be one color, but thanks to the boo-boo that happened there, we're going to add in a deeper tone to kind of, again, enhance that focal point because I need to darken up my center. So I still want my center where my sentiment is going to go to be a nice focal point for the card, right? So I want it to look a bit like it's glowing kind of thing. So put that there for a moment. Okay. This I'm going to take in, I'm going to bring in my microfiber cloth and I'm just going to give it a bit of a buff off of the silver. Okay. I'm also going to give my surface here a bit of a buff, not a total buff. And I'm going to bring in, this is the Dark Denim by Lavinia. And again, these are dye-based inks. So they will soak into the paper, but be resisting all of the foil will resist the ink. And all I'm doing with the darker color is I'm going to touch and go around the edges. So that's, again, just going to add in that depth, again, bringing your focus into the center. If you've ever watched the videos that I've done with Lavinia on the Lavinia stamps, when I'm using them, is you want to highlight what is your focal, right? So we're just going to bring that in a bit, particularly focusing at the corners. Darker. So because I like the corner to be darker, I'll often start at the corner and then just bring my brush while it's still got some ink on it. I'll bring my brush down the edges here to kind of continue that color, but I'm not fully saturated on my brush then. I do want all the four corners to be the darker area. Like that. So it still frames it, but without being super heavily saturated. If that makes sense. Okay. Off there. Okay. And coming down. Coming around the corner. There we go. Okay, so despite my blender looking pretty good, that's good. All right, now I'm going to cover this before I go and stick my finger in it. And because that was a really gentle blend, I don't feel like I need to go back and forth to kind of blend them together. I think that they'll be just fine like that. So I'm going to give this a bit of a wipe so that I'm not transferring that to anything else, like so. Okay, give that a dry. And we'll come in and buff the silver just to refresh and make sure that there isn't any ink sitting on my foil. Okay, so there we go. Got still have the beautiful shine, but a really nice kind of deep and intense card. So what I'm thinking is I kind of like is blessed meeting you. Joyous Christmas. No, I think what was the other one? There's another one on there that I saw. Merry Christmas from me to you. I think that would be really nice. So I'm going to trim these out and I'm going to get some foam tape. I think I have some thinner foam tape here. I do. So all I want to do here is with this is I'm going to trim off the edges. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. Trim that off here like that. And this one I want it to be a little bit closer for sure. Okay. And then I had from my family to yours. That's nice. And I'm going to do okay, so that's off the edge there. Put this down to the side. So let's put this on a card back on a card base, actually is the word that I'm looking for. So and because it is so I can do this two ways actually. So it's because I want to cover that up. So let me see here. Do I want to do this? So I can do Merry Christmas, and then I can kind of go kind of cattywampus like this, or I can just stack them centered. I can also, if I'm doing a straight up and down, kind of do, oh yeah, actually, that's that's actually quite nice. Okay, so I am going to do a top folding note card, and I can do it in one of two here. So I've got this, and I've got that. So let's check out. So I've got now this one, I believe I did edge to edge. Yes, I did. Okay. So I can do it with the blue, which is kind of nice because it's, you know, it's nice to pull out a different colored kind of cardstock and also do it on the white. So because I did the color over there, I think I'm going to do this on the dark blue. And I'm just going to pull. Okay, so that's going the right way. And I'm going to pull out my liquid adhesive, glue this down. Go. And I'm gonna get this right to the edge. So I'm kind of gonna just place it there, and then I'm gonna pick it up and squidgy it into place because it's right edge to edge. I typically don't do edge to edge because sometimes you'll end up getting hangover if you haven't quite cut your cards perfecto, which can be a challenge. Mm, You know, never a fun one. And then what I want to do for these is I actually want to make these, I want to give a little bit of interest to these guys. So first of all, first trick is you want to take a Sharpie or a permanent marker of some sort. So obviously all I've done is this little guy here. So you can see here on the edge, you can see the white core. I want to finish this off so that you're not seeing that. So I am going to take my marker and I'm going to do it from the back. I'm not doing it from the back. I want to do it from the back and I'm just going to run my marker. So I usually have a thicker one. I don't know where the heck my thicker one went to. Where is the thicker one? Thicker one, thicker one, thicker one. I don't see it in my little case here. Oh, there it is right there. Nope, that's wrong. That's a, that is not what I'm looking for. That is also not what I'm looking for. All right. Well, let's take then, what have I got that will dry very quickly? I need a dye-based. Oh, I can use my Gina K here. All right, so I'm going to take my ink pad. This should dry quickly enough that I can mess with it. I'm just going to run it along the edge to finish it. So you can see there, you don't see the white core anymore. And it just kind of makes it look that extra little bit of finished, right? Same with this. This would be easier if you have a fun, nice little Sharpie. typically that's what I recommend is using a Sharpie. But it's, yeah, you want something. My little fine liner there is not going to work. I usually will use the like a regular Sharpie. So let's put that away because it's worse than useless then. All right. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to give that a minute to dry, but while it's drying, I'm going to finish off because I want to create these to be, so I'm going to kind of drag my finger along this too, because that also, you can see here, that's how wet it was, right? You can see the little marks there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little bit of a flag on these. And in order to do that, I'm going to take my scissors here and I'm going to cut, I'm going to go up in the center. I'm going to go in the center or wherever. So I've gone halfway up my sentiment strip, and then I'm going to come from this side here and I'm going to cut, go to the edge of where I cut it. And then from here, I'm going to come to the edge of this tag here, or edge of the square, the thing here, and I'm going to cut up from there. And that should give me a pretty decent pennant flag edge that's fairly, without having to use a die, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it, gives me a um, estimate of a halfway. So now I'm going to do that on the same thing where it says here from my family to yours. Okay. And come over to here. Whoop. Nope, and I didn't quite go up far enough. And go up far enough on this side. There we go. And poof, there we go. So now I have two little flags, and I'm going to pull out my foam tape and my tweezers. And so for this one here, actually go, I think I do I have anything that's any I don't have to use that. Okay, well, let's do this one first. This one's quite thin. So this is really nice foam tape. This I actually just got this one from the dollar store. Dollar Tree, actually. You can get these packages of 3 foam tapes, and they have various widths, which is quite nice. Okay, and I'm just going to trim that off there like that. And because this has, I want to make sure that I'm going to use the same one because it'll have the same depth then too, right? So I'm going to come in, and because I cut that funny, I'm going to come from the edge of the flag here. Theoretically, this is very sticky on my fingers. And then bring it straight there. Oh, come on. Snip. And I believe I should have enough now to do pretty much the rest of it. Or I have to turf this roll here. You know, man. This right. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel this and one peel, two. All right. And I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to hold that up and I'm going to go Merry Christmas, and I'm going to kind of do it a little cattywampus. I want it to look a little fun on there like that. And then this one's going to go from my family to yours. And then what I can do is I can come in with some snowflake jewels, which I might even have. Big crystal stars. I do. Yep. So, from my family, yeah, let's put this on here just so I can get a good read on where I'm putting it. From my family to yours, just like that. Okay. And I'm gonna do that, and we have, whoops. Those are just iridescents. We have the crystal stars, so that could work. Um, Iridescent ice flakes. I think those will be pretty cool. All right, let's do those. All right, and do a couple of those in here. And pull some out. Pick out here. Okay, and there's a couple of different sizes in these too, which is kind of neat. And go up. And here. Okay. Another one here. 1, 2, 3. 4. All right, that's kind of fun. Yeah. All right, so we'll put that down just so you guys aren't having to wait all blooming day while we do this here. So I'm gonna just pull out my liquid adhesive and pop one down there, pop another one down here, and with the edge here, which I think was kind of that. No, get one there, and another one there. Oopie, stick down, stick down. Okay, I'm gonna put these away before I knock them over. Oh, well, how did that work out, hey? Okay, and so here's what you guys can draw. Okay, I'll put this to the side. Okay, so that's one card that we've completed. Okay, very nice. Kind of simple, actually. So we're going on about a half an hour here. So I'm just going to try and see how many more I can complete. I think I will do this white one and then maybe this pink one or this kind of blue with the black on it. So I'm going to bring this one. Now, I did want to do some inking on this one as well. But I'm not going to take too long to do it, hopefully. Famous last words, right, guys? Oop, wrong one. So I am going to bring in a little bit of but I do want to do two tones. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit and I'm loving this color, but I want to make sure that I'm kind of bringing this up a little bit. I'm going to keep some white, make sure that I'm keeping some white as well. I kind of want to make this, what is that? Not tie dye, but almost like a dip dye where it fades out. So we're going to do the two different colors. So we're going to have the white fading into the lighter blue like that. Adding that little bit of contrast, which would be nice. And then I'm going to pull in the darker blue for the bottom. And I'm just deciding that that's going to be the bottom. It doesn't have to be the bottom. We can test out what we like on the card too once we put it on. So let's do this. And we'll bring that darker blue a little bit up. So I'm looking in there. And saturating the bottom, making sure that that darker blue is coming up and it's blending nicely into the lighter blue. Okay, let's have a look in here. It's actually blending quite lovely. And we can come back in with the lighter blue a little bit. I'm just going to use what's already on my brush. I don't want to take that too far, but I still want those colors to show there. Okay, so I'm going to tip that in like that. Bring in actually, first of all, I want to wipe this up. Oops. Wipe that up like that. And then dry. And I'm going to wipe off the silver. Make sure that there's no ink sitting on the edges now. Look at how nice that is. Okay, so now I've got this really pretty blue. Okay, so I've got the blue, which I can just do really simple happy holidays. Let me see what else have we got. We've got season greetings, wishing you peace this Christmas. That's really lovely, isn't it now? No, that's the silver. Okay, Christmas hugs and kisses. You're my heart and mind. Sending lots of Christmas cheer to you. That's kind of fun. Okay, and joyous greetings at Christmas. Yeah, it's cricket as all get out, isn't it? I'm thinking happy holidays, sending lots of Christmas cheer to you. I think that'll be really nice to the bottom here. Okay. Yep, I think that'll be fun. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer and trim off the white edges. And, but I think I am actually going to keep them going right edge to edge here. Yep, I think so. Because that looks pretty cool right to the edge there. Versus if I was pulling out something shorter like this, like where I'd already trimmed it down. So let's get that into frame for you guys so you can see, right? So I like how that's going right edge to edge. And you know what? I think I'm actually even going to, I think I'm just going to glue this directly onto the card. I'm not even going to pop that part up. I'm just going to glue it directly onto the card front and then I can turn it over and snip it off so that it's right to the edge of my card. So now, do I think that I need to do the edges of it? I think I'm just going to leave it at the edge. So I'm not going to do the black on the edge on this one. So I'm just going to pull this, get some adhesive on my strip. And I am going to take it a little further, even though I know that there's some white right there, because I do want to make sure I am getting good coverage all the way to the edge. And so because I'm doing this, I am going to kind of line up my card so that I can try and get this as straight as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, handmade, not Hallmark, right? But I do want it to be fairly straight. Just a bit. There we go. And then this, sending lots of Christmas cheer to you. Here, off the edge here as well. There we go. And just down as the sub sentiment here, right? And stick that there, there. Let's see if that kind of matches up a bit. I think I didn't cut that top one straight in my guillotine when I was doing it. That's very funny. That's okay though. All right, so from the back here, now you can see I've got the overhang, but this is why it's handy that I didn't add it onto my card base already, because I can come along and snip one, snip two. That, oh, kind of missed the edge there. Now I could also use my guillotine trimmer too. If you have one of these, let me show you how you do that. So you've got the edge overhanging here. What you do is you pull out your trimmer and you put this in, and you have your card hanging right at the edge here. You can, oh, nope, I don't think you can see that. There we go. So I've got my card here right at the edge, and I'm going to bring down, so I'm going to hold that in place using the guardrail here. Pop that down. There we go. Right to the edge there. Go. I get a nice smooth edge. And now we can do again, actually, I think so. This is what it would look like on white, which is not bad because it kind of fades in, right? So that's not bad. But let's check what is it like on some of the blue, because I did I have a couple of blue ones here. So let's check and see what that looks like on navy. And I also have a lighter blue. All right, so this is I'm not sure where this cardstock. I think this might be Stampin' Up cardstock actually. But, okay, so that is very subtle. Okay, gives it a different pop than the white on white, and that's kind of very white, I think, up at the top there, but not the end of the world. That's kind of nice. And then we have the dark blue, like the navy. Oh, the navy is like poppy, poppy, poppy. Yeah, we're gonna do the navy. Poppity, poppity, poppity. All right, so make sure this is the front. That is the front. And I'm just going to glue this straight down. So this is essentially a single layer card, which is excellent if you're trying to mail it. Doesn't have too much added dimension. I mean, the other one is only a two-layer card, so it's not the end of the world. It's not too much dimension or anything like that. You could still get away with single stamp, but again, it's nice to be able to kind of check that out and make sure that you're not going to end up going overboard. Okay, so I could just leave this like this. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if I wanted though, I could go in and put in, let's say I've got these iridescent, instead of doing the snowflakes, I've got these iridescent kind of droppies. This could be kind of cute. Oopsie. So these will pick up, as you can see here, I've kind of put them onto the card front, and they're picking up what's behind them. Okay, that's something. I was going to, oh, there, I finally got it to sit. So that's what's kind of cool about the iridescent, is that it will actually pick up the colors that are behind it, and there's not too much going on that it's that it's too much kind of thing. So let's see if I can get this guy out of there. That one. And let's see, can we get another one over there? We should be able to. Theoretically, let's get that's there, there. And then I've got a small one. Let's put that little guy in there, and we'll get another bigger one up there. I think we should be able to. Seriously. All right. Just because being difficult. All right, let's try that. What do we think? I think it adds a nice little bit of shine to it. Kind of. Yep, I'm happy with that. Right, we've got five. We'll stick those down. Kind of almost like punctuation marks on there. And let's get these and go. So we'll stick those down. So, and this is another reason why when I'm foiling, when I'm doing alcohol inks or anything like that, I will often do almost like batches because then when it comes to card fronts and actually prepping the card, I've got it all there. It's all ready to go. I did my sentiments, I did my card front, and now I can just stick it down, finish the zhuzhing part, and it's good. So that's two cards. And we're at, I don't know what, 40 minutes. And that was even with ink blending. Hmm. Nice. Okay. So now I'm going to do one of these black ones because I think that those will be the ones that you guys are like, I don't know. What do you do with those, Kareem? All right. So yeah, let's do this one. Okay. So this is the silver with the black. All right. And it's pretty, uh, shiny and, kind of thinner. So I'm going to stick this one down first, before I do. Oh, you know what? I might be lying because I really do like how that sentiment turned out. So what I could do on here is in order to have this pop out, so I can do the season. No, that's blue. I don't want to do the blue. See, this sometimes the shiny. It's just so shiny. Okay, this joyous Christmas actually does pop off of there quite nicely, right? That's kind of nice. And joyous Christmas can do something simple. I am missing you this Christmas. I think that's a little too. This one's from me to you. That's another sub sentiment. Okay, so I could actually do the blue on the gray if I wanted, or on the silver. That would be fine. These ones are the blue ones, so I'm going to move those over to the side because I'm not going to do that. I don't want to mix them. Uh, Joyous Christmas from me to you, from my home to yours. What else have we got here? Merry Christmas. I hope your holiday is blessed. Um, do, do, do. Yep. Nope. I'm going to do this one. I like this. So from my home to yours. Nope. Joyous Christmas from me to you. So from me to you, that's the one that's already here. So now here's where the dilemma comes in. So I do like how, far across this comes, this joyous Christmas, right? Like how well that pops out on there. The problem is that my secondary sentiment is short, right? So from me to you, joyous Christmas. Joyous Christmas from me to you. Really quite like that. That's kind of nice. But do I like it or do I want to cut this down and just have them again as flags? I think I like the possibility of doing this kind of like this and then, doing a flag. Now, do I want to pop that up? Yep, I'm going to pop that up. So we're going to pop this one up, stick it down, and then I can pop this one up and make a flag out of this one. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to pull out my foam tape. Oh, I got so many small pieces on here. That's kind of funny. Yep, that one's stuck to me. Right. Alrighty, so this and here. Side. How much do I need on that? Somewhere around there. Right. This was, I got a little carried away with my foam tape there. Quite that much. So let's do that. The edge there, and then I'm going to trim this down. I'm going to cut this in half, lengthways ish. And these are, Tim Holtz, titanium scissors, and they've got a bit of a groove to them. They're not really supposed to be, they're supposed to be non-stick, but I'm not sure. Maybe you guys have non-stick things that are actually non-stick. I have not found these to be non-stick enough kind of thing. Let's see that one for my other sentiment here. Okay, and I'm gonna go here, right to the edge like that, right to the edge, right to the edge. Okay. So, and the reason why, again, why I'm doing this before I stick this down is because I want to be able to have this go onto my card front here, and I want to be able to cut off the edges here. Straight. I think I'm fairly straight. There we go. Okay. So I want to be able to flip this over. And now I want to be able to take my scissors and go right around the edge there. Okay, good. And I got all of the white. So that's good. And again, right to the edge there. Good. Okay, so there's my sentiment. I'm liking it actually with the popped up dimension. What would be really good is if you got, I don't have any, but if I'd gotten the you can get dimensional foam tape that is black so you don't see it. I don't know if you guys can see. So you can see that white in there, right? But you can get dimensional foam tape that doesn't, where you won't be able to see the white. So let's choose. So clearly I am making this a top folding card again because I've already put my sentiment on there like that. So I've got a couple of options. Like I've got a gray. Okay. So it's not bad, but it's not like super poppy on there. I've got some black. Okay. It's pretty stark. I think that because the snowflakes are already so dark, I think that what we're likely going to go with is, I think what's going to be nicest is white. Yeah, that's beautiful. Look at that. That's nice. Okay. So making sure top. Okay. So I'm going to add some adhesive. Here we go. Okay, stick this down. So and remember that I trimmed this down to about 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 inches by 5 1/4. So that it would get so that I would have this nice white border on this. Because again, I knew that this would be a little dark. Oh, fudge, I got some adhesive on there. I have to buff that off a bit in a bit, and it'll dry clear. Okay, so there's where we're at so far. Now I'm going to take my from me to you, and I'm going to trim this flag off of here, or trim the white piece off. And I'm going to create a flag again here. By going from the edge here, I'm going to go in on the center, eyeballing where about the halfway mark on my sentiment strip is. And then I'm just going to go in from the corners and bring that in. There we go. From me to you. And I think I do want to pull in, pin this down on this end just a scotch. There we go. All right, now I am going to add some foam behind here. And I do want to use the same foam because that way then it has the same amount of depth. Lisa. Okay, but I need much less of it. This is much shorter and this is still too wide for this. Because I didn't pull out thinner strips, which would have been the sensible thing to do. But, you know, some days sensibility in crafting is not always where you go with it. I'd like to say that I'm always sensible, but I'm not. My husband would definitely agree with that sentiment that I am not always sensible. All righty. Now let's see if I trimmed this correctly. The right about size. All righty. There we go. To there. And peel off the backing. And I want to get my tweezers. And so you can do this with it laying flat, but sometimes what you want to do is you want to pick it up and you want to look at your card so that you can kind of have a good guesstimate of where do you want it. And because I did the flag on it, I want it to be, let's see, I could actually go off the corner down here. What do you guys think of that? It's kind of different, eh, if it comes right off the edge there. No, I think we'll just kind of go into this area here. I don't like that. From me to you. Okay, now let's pick out a bubble, put on there of some sort. Now, I think so we could do some silver to really, again, bring in that silver. I've got some more iridescent. I think I like the other iridescents better. Yeah, let's try. Oof. Oh, I've got those weird ones. Those ones could be kind of cool. Let's give those. Let's have a looky see and see which ones we actually like. Okay. So we've got a couple of these mirrored bowls. Let's see what those guys look like on there. And got one. Put it in the center there. I think that's cool. There we go. Now, what do they look like if they're on silver? Can you even see that? You can sort of see that. They're pretty hidden though. And because they've got a mirrored back on them, they're not going to pick up the color from behind. So I think that's kind of maybe kind of a little bit of a waste there. But let's see here. So these are obviously a mix of flat back pearls of gold and silver. So the gold is kind of interesting on there. If I wanted to do introduce another color on there, that's kind of interesting, right? Let's check out the silver, silver, silver. Come on, people, work with me. There we go. I am kind of liking the silver. It's kind of nice. Okay, so I've got a bigger silver one here. But I am actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to go with the gold because I think it brings in, like, I have this really beautiful pad of paper that is black, white, silver, and gold snowflakes. And it just looks really, because I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me put a couple of bigger gold ones on there. I'm not going to use this big of a gold one, but I want you to see the difference between the silver and the gold once I get my head out of the way here. Okay, hold that up there. And look at, you can kind of see. I mean, like I think the gold would add in again another bright touch compared to the silver, changing it up. So that's interesting. That was so not the area that I thought I was going to be going in. Okay, that one's too big. So let's pull in a like that size. Let's pull in the same size. That is the same size. Little one. And we flip that one over. There we go. And do. That size. There we go. And let's see. It is. I got two of those, so I need one of that. You seem smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's go. I think what I'm going to do, because I have this tag down here, I'm going to go this way across the page and go there. And I have that guy there. I must put that in the center of that snowflake like that. And then we will do one right there and another one maybe right there. And, oh, and look at that one will fit right in the center of that snowflake. That's so cute. I think. I think. Or we will want to do it over there. Nope. Yep, up there. There. That's oops. Stop moving. There we go. Okay, I like that one better. So let's put these back in there. It's in the jar. Spill them. Right. Okay, and down some adhesive. And for those of you who don't know, in my little glue press here, I have Barely Art glue. Really like it. It works well. I get really good coverage with it, and dries clear, which is important. I'm sticking quite a bit of adhesive down here so that it's smooshing up beyond my flat back pearls. I'll hold it up so that you can see it because, again, this foil is a non-porous surface. So I want to make sure that there is definitely enough adhesive on these that it will stick, right? That's going to be important. Okay, that there to the side. And I did notice that I do have a little bit of adhesive from when I stuck it down. So I want to make sure that I can buff that off. There we go. And I just moved that one around. So that was genius. But so you can see here, like the glue is kind of squishing up and around the pearls, but that's okay because it will dry clear. So that'll be fine, but that will help it hold on very well. So that was foiling using a like Deco foil, toner foil, and the Gina K foiling fuse system. But like I said, if you have the old mink, this will work. I did try it and it does work with a laminator. You just have to make sure that you have enough pressure and enough heat on a regular laminator. So try it out a bit before you invest too much. Because I mean, a regular laminator can cost you $35, $40 from Amazon or Walmart or whatever. Um, versus this, which I think was 100 and I think this was about 135, 140 American, I think. And then I got a bundle because I got it as the new release kind of thing. So it came with some foil and some of the polyglaze sheets, and it came with a few things. So it might have been 160, but less expensive than the Go Press and Foil is what I will say. However, your foil sheets now, which is the consumable part, are more expensive, and you definitely need to have toner versus buying the foil plates and stuff like that. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like and a comment. Keep your comments kind. Yeah, make sure that you're subscribed if you haven't. Pass it along to your friends if you have somebody who's new to card making or wants to do class length tutorials and wants to really be able to do the technique along with me. Please pass it along. And again, if you're enjoying the videos, please let me know. I do read the comments and do my best to respond to all of them as well if I can. Um, if you have been enjoying my videos and enjoying the class length, and essentially this is, taking a class every 2 weeks, basically. I do post on Wednesdays. In the comment section, I will have a link to take you to my Buy Me a Coffee page, which is if you feel like you've been enjoying the videos and would like to put something towards it, you can just make a donation, one-time donation if you'd like. I'd appreciate it. But again, it's free if you don't, and that's not a problem at all. Here are our cards for today. So this is the beautiful just silver with the sentiment, very simple. We've done the poly glaze. This was with the blue foil, and then we did some ink blending on top of it because the foil does resist, so it's still shiny. And then this was the toner background, like where the snowflakes are, with the silver foil that we also did some ink blending on. And yeah, that's going to be the video today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. Let me know how you're coming along with your cards, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them if I can. Take care, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.